I think my mic is muted, I'm not sure. Um, Let me just check that to make sure. Hang on, fuck. I'm gonna have to do that whole intro again, that's nice. Well, hello and welcome to IRL FP here for round 5 in Austria, the Red Bull Ring. Today I'm going to be a commentator, Kevin Harrison, and again I'm going to be joined by no one. You can see there Ross retiring, that was intentional as he has his quali ban. Dylan Day, it's always chaos, also has a quali ban. So that's unfortunate for them, but sometimes it's how it is. As we can see sometimes on the board, of course, Lee Kelly getting a 4.0, Lewis Millam, of course, in the Williams getting a 5.5, Ollie Flavel on a 5.7 in the other Williams, and then we have Jared Fosbury on a 5.7 as well. Actually, very close between himself and Ollie there. Of course, Jared Fosbury in the Aston Martin, and then it seems like Matthew Alden must have made a mistake in the Haas, because a 111 is nowhere near representative of what Matthew would be able to do, even if he is in the slow car. Would be expecting a Lee Kelly pole though, as of course he's in the Mercedes, he's one of the quicker drivers, and you put one of the quicker drivers in the quickest car, they will probably win the race, which is looking like what's going to happen today. As you can see, he's over a second clear of second place, who's now actually Jared Fosbury, who's got a second lap in and put himself up into second place. As of course you can see that Cameron Young and Lewis Millam both on the mediums, so they're looking to start on the opposite tyre. Now Corboy, who I haven't actually seen until today in the Mercedes, maybe he's a reserve, I'm not sure, but I don't remember the name Corboy. So I'll try and see what his actual name is. But yeah, we'll try and find someone on a lap. I think Thomas McGyver is looking like he's on a lap. He has Corboy, the Mercedes, getting out of the way there. As Thomas goes a little bit wide, doesn't quite get the turn in that he would have wanted. There is someone behind him as well who I think is also on a lap, I'm not sure. But now an invalidation from Thomas McGyver, so that's going to be the end of his lap. I think it was, yeah, it is Dylan Day who's behind him. He's set an invalid lap and he's going back into the pit lane, I think, looks like. Yes, he is. And surely that's going to be for a retirement as well. So who was that there going to the pit lane? That was... oh, it was actually Corboy there. He sped up a bit. Is Nino a bit further up? Nino is a bit further up, and I don't think anyone else yet. It's just himself and... oh, of course that glitch has happened. So Nino wasn't actually on the lap. Cameron Young was on a lap 2 seconds ago. He spun out of the final corner, or maybe he was going on to a lap, I'm not sure. But regardless, he is out of this qualifying session now, and he's going to have to settle with what is currently fourth on the mediums. As you can see, he spun around, he's lost a tyre, lost his entire front wing as well. As now we'll try and find someone else on a lap. I think Timer Azim is on a lap, or maybe he's not. I think we're just getting a glitch here. Yeah, we are. So it seems like he is on a lap. Probably wouldn't be the nicest experience to be going on board with him. So we won't do that. As you can even hear it from outside. And I actually need to get in a party. And there we go. That's better. Of course, last week that happened for a little as well, but that was because it kicked me out of the party rather than I was never in a party. This time I just didn't actually remember to join a party. I'm in one now though. So it won't be broadcast to the entire quality, so they can get on with their laps. And we have it with Sondre as well, it seems. Okay, maybe we don't. Well, I think we'll go on board then with Sondre's lap. Of course, he hasn't set a lap yet in the Alpine as well. So, kind of midfield car. Opening up the DRS, of course, and approaching the hairpin of turn 3. And it looks like someone's gone off in the hairpin of turn 3. That would be Lee Kelly who's gone off. A little bit of a cluster of cars as well. Hopefully that won't affect Sondre as he exits the hairpin, now opening up the DRS. As now he goes through turn 4 and the flat turn 5, and then you have the two left-handers of turn 6 and turn 7. You've got to really commit to both of these, but you also got to make sure that you're not invalidating on the exit of either of them, as you can get very close to as you naturally go out onto the curbs on the exits. It's now going through turn 9 and now the final turn 10 to finish up the lap for Sondre. He hasn't invalidated, so it's going to be up in fourth for the 4.8 on the softs, of course, as well. As Matthew has set a time now of 5.1 on the softs. That's a bit more representative of what Matthew can do. Fable getting his way into the pit lane. Seems like Dale Kelleher is on a lap in the AlphaTauri right now. He's set an apparent purple sector 1. He's gone over the curb a little bit too much and he's going to spin around. And now that's the end of his flying lap, of course, unfortunately for him. As Jared Fosbury goes through there, I'm not sure if he's on a lap. I guess we'll see by how he's driving. Seems to have used quite a bit of ERS as well, so I'm gonna say no, but I guess we'll see if he improves. Lewis Millam looks to be on a lap as well. Or then again, maybe not. No, he's not on a lap. Jared Fosbury is also not on the lap either. Coreboy hasn't validated, so it seems like maybe only Thomas MacGyver is on a lap, or I hope he is at least, as a lot of people have been disappointing me with not being on laps. I don't think Thomas is on a lap either. No, he's not. As timer's coming out of the pit, but it doesn't say out lap. And it looks a bit like an AI as well, so I don't think he's actually out of the pits at all. Of course, everyone else is in the pit lane. Or just coming out of it, as Matthew Alder exits the pit lane. So now it says out lap, so maybe timer did actually leave the pit lane normally. This tweet is definitely up now. And now with timer Azim, looks like he's going to be starting a lap now as he opens up the DRS flap and crosses over the line to start his first flying lap, or at least his first attempt at setting a lap. Hopefully this one is going to be clean, as I'm not sure if he did it one earlier, as I think he was the one who teleported earlier, or maybe it was Nino. I can't quite remember. It's a wet race apparently, as I'm seeing in the comments, so wouldn't be expecting anyone to go on mediums then. But we continue on board with his time regime, of course, as he's going through turn 4, gets up on the curb a little bit, just for good measure, of course, and now through the flat turn 5, and then the two left-handers of turn 6 and turn 7. He seems to be taking it kind of slow, though. So I'm not sure if he's going to go in the pit lane, or maybe this is just a banker that he just wants a lap. And now he's suddenly set a lap. See, I don't get it. But he's going to be finishing up this lap. So I guess we'll see if he'll improve on his previous lap. As, no he doesn't. It does kind of look like an AI though. As Dale Keller seems to be on a lap, of course. Currently 10th with a 5.3, so he's going to be looking for an improvement certainly. As not using the curb on entry for turn 4, he really should be, or at least I would. But Dale feels that obviously it's not to be used, or maybe he's going into the pit lane as well, although he does have a bit more ERS than other people have, and it does say a purple sector 2 as well, so maybe he will be finishing up with this lap. As certainly if he is going to finish up, he's going to be looking for an improvement, of course, inside the top 10, so not the worst thing, but certainly would want to get away from 11th, who's going to have a free choice of tyre behind him. So crossing the line now, and he's going to improve to 6th with a 4.9 getting into the force, just about. Top 6, all getting into the force. Lee Kelly the only one to see a lap time of a 1.3. As speaking of lead, he's actually on an outlap now. So is Jared Fosbury, as it seems he's just starting his lap now as he opens up DRS. Or actually, is he? Can't really tell if that's flash. Yeah, no, he did open it, but he seems to be going slowly. And he's not using any ERS either, which is interesting. Every time I go on board, some of them are actually doing a lap. There's Lewis Curtis into the pit lane. Dylan Day is back out for some reason. Maybe just getting a bit of practice. As of course, if he sets a time, he's going to be disqualified automatically. As Lee Kelly started a lap, but he's invalidated it. And you won't be able to improve, and there won't really be any more improvements either, because there's only 2 minutes left in the session. Dale Kelleher now is out for another lap. He did put himself 6th a minute or two ago, and he's going to be looking to improve on his time now as he goes through the hairpin of turn 3, and of course through and opening up DRS again, using ERS all the way down the straight, and then downhill braking off turn 4, which makes it all that bit trickier. Should really be using the curb on entry. He decides not to, I guess just to make sure that he doesn't spin on the curb or make a mistake, as Thomas MacGyver has called it quits, it seems. I don't think he retired on track anyway. As of course we continue on with Dale Keller through the left-hander, apparently purple, but he was apparently purple last time, and he was only 6th, so take that with a pinch of salt. As of course he's going to be going through turn 9, the penultimate corner, and then the final corner of turn 10, chucking the car and getting very close to the white line, but just about not invalidating as he goes across the line, and he was not able to improve in his position, stays 6th fastest. As now Jared Fosbury's finishing up, he's going to be looking to improve on his P8. Maybe he can beat Dale Keller, who finished it up a few moments ago. He's going to cross the line and go 7th with a 4.9, just behind Dale Keller in the AlphaTauri. As he's finished up, certainly Ollie Flevel not going to be improving, it doesn't seem. As Dylan Day, don't tell me he's going to set a lap time. Okay, he hasn't. That's good. As now Lee Kelly's on a lap. Of course, he's currently provisionally pole position. That probably won't get taken away from him either, but he's going to be going through the penultimate and final corner now, looking for an improvement. Certainly it looks quite clean going through the final two corners, and he is going to improve by a lot, as a 3.3 now almost puts a second between himself and Corboy, who's going to be going through turn 6 and turn 7, the two left-handers now, as of course he's realistically he's the only one who's going to be able to challenge this Lee Kelly pole position, as of course Sondre Sorog goes fourth fastest with a 4.7 there. Matthew Walder with a 4.8 in fifth still. I think he's still yet to set a final lap time though, as of course through the final few corners for Corboy he's going to open up the DRS and he's going to cross the line. Can he beat him? No, he does improve to a 3.3, second person to get into the threes, but it just wasn't enough, as Sondre Sorog I think is finished up here. Yeah, he is, seems, as Matthew Walder finishes up as well. He is definitely in fifth. Timer Azim is on out lap, but he shouldn't be able to set another lap. Lewis Curtis is going to be looking for an improvement, but he's not going to be able to get any improvement, as he's invalidated, stays 12th fastest, and it doesn't look like anyone else is going to be setting a time, as of course Tim in the Red Bull doesn't look like he got a time in. In the end, Nino, of course, as well in the AlphaTauri didn't get a time, and Tom McGyver also not getting a time. Dylan Day and Ross Denham at the back of the grid with quali bands, of course. So now we're just waiting for Timer Azim's car. Oh, ERS Major as well. Yeah, I haven't actually seen him either. Oh, unlucky Tim. Because I think we're going to have to wait out this entire minute, unfortunately. Unless it's when he crosses the line, which would be nice. As across the line, I hope that means he's finished. No, it doesn't. Gonna have to wait another 30 seconds. As now he leaves the session. So we'll be able to get going anyway. So of course, fastest Lee Kelly ahead of Corboy and Major, and then Sondre Sorog in fourth with Matthew Walder in fifth. The two teammates fourth and fifth. Good starting positions as a team there. Dale Keller in 6th, Jared Fosbury 7th, Ollie in 8th, Lewis Millam 9th, and Timer Azim rounds out the top 10. And then it's Cameron Young, Lewis Curtis in 11th and 12th, and then of course Thomas Skyver, Nino, and Tim not getting a time, Ross and Dylan Day with quali bans, so not allowed to set a time. So there you have it then, the two Irish guys actually. Well, an all-Irish front row. That's nice to see. Would be cool if they converted it to an Irish 1-2 as well. Of course I am Irish, so. But there is the rain that I was kind of hinted about in the comments of the stream chat. And you can see there, it looks quite heavy, so I would be expecting full wets from these guys. And of course, in the wet, it makes the skill you have shine a little bit more. And someone like Matthew Walder, I think, wouldn't be too disappointed seeing this kind of weather, because that Haas, with that engine, isn't going to be able to overtake too easily. Maybe in the wet, he'll be able to get better overtakes and put him in a bit better of position. as we are away now for the formation lap, of course led by Lee Kelly. And you can see for sure everyone's going to be on full wets for the start of this race. If it's going to dry up later, who knows? But at the moment, this is what we have, and I would be expecting to see crashes given it is full wet weather. If someone goes down the inside, it'll be very easy to spin someone around, and as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see someone spinning around. As we just finish up now. And we'll just go on board with someone who's a little bit more down the pack. You can see even on the formation lap there is quite a bit of spray as Jared Fosbury is spun on the formation lap. That's a little bit... Oh, okay, yeah, he's got disqualified. Yeah, visibility isn't going to be the best today, I don't think, when they properly get going. As you can see, Lee Kelly now lining up. The two Mercs taking the front row lockout. Also just waiting a while for, I think it's Cameron who spun around. Yeah, it is Cameron. As we get a green flag there, you can see on the left hand side, and we're going to get the 5 red lights for the Austrian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go. Lee seems to get a fairly good start, but he's actually lost the back end a little bit, and it's going to allow Corboy to go through. Matthew Walder's already fighting for the lead of this race on the inside, tries to have a look, can't quite make it work, as now he's going to be running second. A very good start though for Matthew Walder, of course, and now Lee Kelly's going to be in the slipstream of him, going towards the hairpin. Doesn't look down the inside, so he's going to be sensible about it. The Red Bull now looking around the outside. That's major. Ollie Flevel also getting involved in this as well, or trying to get himself involved, and there's already a virtual safety car. So what has happened in the back there is there is a bit of a cluster, but has someone spun around maybe? Doesn't seem to be the case that anyone spun around. Everyone seems to be going fairly okay. As we'll just get the position changes then. As Sondre Sorg really not having a great start. Of course, he's down 5 positions there. Matthew having a nice start up to second with gaining 3, and so too was Ollie Flevel going up to 5th, 3 position gain for him, and also time resumed. So a few good starts from people. Dylan Day, who started at the back, is up to 11th, but we are away racing once again in Austria. As now into the pit lane, Lee Kelly. So did he get damage from something, I wonder? As in the slipstream major is, of course, I think it's the Red Bull that's the fastest car. Or, well, actually no, if Lee, yeah, it would be the Mercedes is actually getting very close to the back of Matthew Walder there. The Red Bull of Major. Almost hitting him, but avoiding action off the track and remains P3. So yeah, it would be the Mercs that are the quicker car today, the Red Bull being second best, of course, naturally. And is that Tiger Azim making a move? I think it might have been. Maybe not, I'm not sure. It seems to be telling me people are making moves and they're not. As it should hopefully correct itself when we finish lap 2. Also 1.5 seconds now, the gap between Corboy and Matthew. And of course Matthew's still under pressure from Major. Just doesn't look like he can quite get the exit he needs to put pressure on Matthew Older enough into the hairpin, because hairpin realistically is the best overtaking spot on the track. As has Dylan Day pit there, I think? As yellow flags, I'm not sure who that's for. Is that Major? That is Major, who's lost it seems out of the hairpin, and he's gone down to 9th. He was running 3rd a few moments ago, and now looking on the inside, Lewis Millam. I can't see if... Yep, there you go. Lewis Curtis is on the outside. Lewis Millam, of course, on the inside for turn 5, as Lewis Curtis has to correct the car a little bit, but he's keeping it on the inside here, as he's going to go down the inside of the Williams there, and he's going to be able to make that move as well in turn 6, and he's up into 7th place. As Major now loses a few more positions down to 10th. Did he get damage maybe? I don't think he did. I can't see any damage from here. And he's not going to be on the right hand side, so yeah, he's not going to be pitting anyway. As now Ollie Flobel's going to inherit a P3. But have a bit of a gap to Matthew Older now to make up if he wants to be moving forward anymore in this race. As you can see how tricky it is, Lewis Curtis losing the back end a little bit, having to correct his car to make sure he doesn't go round, as I think there's a fight in the background there. Lee Kelly's on the inside of Jared Fosbury and is going to be able to go through as well and up back into the points as well for the Irishman. As now Sondre Sorog, has he made a mistake? It seems like he has, as he just loses 2 positions there, and Timer Azim has just been passed there by Lewis Curtis. Just caught the end of it there. Of course, Timer Azim on the outside, so Lewis Curtis probably at the inside. Squeezed him out on the exit, and he continues to make up places. As Lewis Curtis now up 7 positions. Started outside of the top 10, now running in the top 5. As now is Sondre Sorg making a move there, or actually he's pitting. He is pitting. So maybe he has damage, I'm not sure. Lee Kelly now following in the slipstream of Thomas MacGyver. He's going to be looking for a move as well, and a virtual safety car, so that's going to be the end of any move maybe that he wanted to make. As has someone DNF'd, I think it's maybe Tim who's caused that. I can't see where his car is on track. Still under virtual safety car, so quite a long one. Probably the most likely overtake if... I mean... Okay, he's round, he's out, and is that going to be... It is going to be a safety car. A drive-through penalty for speeding on the VSC for Sondre Sorog, but I don't think that was his fault, though. I think maybe when it got upgraded to a safety car, he might have been just over, so... now a retirement from Dylan Day there, and I think we're going to see his car on the left-hand side. We are going to see his car on the left-hand side, right into the barrier. Of course, it was Timer Azim who started the safety car. Dylan Day just kind of adding to it, really. As now Corboy is going to take the lead behind the safety car. And it's going to allow Matthew Waller to close back up. If Corboy makes a mistake, I'm sure Matthew Waller is going to be looking for a move as soon as he can. As the safety car is just waiting at turn 2. Okay, well, Corboy is fairly simple then. Corboy is his second name, so I wasn't really calling him any kind of incorrect name. And Major is Matt, and it's just Matt. So I'll keep that in mind for the rest of the race then. Joe Corboy leading the race. Oh, interestingly, some people put in the safety car actually. That being Lewis Curtis, Lewis Millam, and Ollie Flavel. Of course, Thunder Surag had pitted a lap earlier. But he is going to get to catch up. I'm not sure if he might still have that drive-through. We'll just check. He does still have that drive-through, and he's not going to be allowed to serve it under the safety car. So really unfortunate for Sundre then. Still under the safety car. Hopefully it comes in this lap. Looks like Cameron Young is going to be able to catch up as well, so that's good for him. And the people who have pit onto the wets, thinking about it, should be able to go to the end as well. Or I would think they would be, because the wets do go a very, very long time. As the safety car is going to stay out another lap. Now Cameron Young will definitely be catching up. So you can say then the safety car should most definitely be in this lap then. top 8 at the moment, all yet to pit. Safety car in this lap, so we'll finally be getting back to some racing. Of course, Corboy will be leading the way, so it's up to him when he wants to go. As the safety car is just going to make its way into the pit lane. So Corboy really should be able to go whenever he wants now, and actually looks like he has already gone as we go through the penultimate corner, as he's trying to catch Matthew Walder out, it seems. It's now a 5-second penalty for Matt for getting a 5-second, a severe collision with Cameron Young. I'm not really sure what that was for. But now in the slipstream, using ERS as well, Matthew Walder behind the Mercedes. Don't think he's going to be able to make a move though, as Lee Kelly in the background goes through on Thomas McGyver, I should say. Ross Denham following fairly closely to the back of Jared Fosbury, and it looks like Nino has already been passed by Lewis Curtis, who's actually not here. Nino, so not really an overtake at all. As, you know, again, that's not actually an overtake. It seems like the most likely overtake to be done is probably going to be Lee Kelly on Dale Kelleher, and it's going to be for the podium places. It's going to put Lee back into the podium places as well. Lee has pit once, but of course he does also still have 9-lap-old tyres. Really, it should say 8, I think, as he pit on lap 1, but on the back of the AlphaTauri, of course, now. And he's going to be looking for a move, as Nino just drops to pretty much last now, as you'd expect. There's a little bit of hiccup there. But on the exit of turn 1 now, Lee Kelly's going to pull to the right-hand side, or left-hand side, I should say, our right, and now on the inside for turn 2. Still side by side, though, as he's going to try and go right around the outside, and he's going to be able to use the superior braking there of the Mercedes and go up into the podium places now. His next target, Matthew Walder, who is 1.3 seconds up the road, so a little bit of a gap to close first before we can start thinking about a move, but I think he'll be making it. Mercedes 1-2 very soon, as now Jared Fosbury on the inside of Thomas McGyver. Jared Fosbury makes the move as a little bit of a half spin for Thomas McGyver as well, for good measure. Let's just checking down the field, no moves really happening behind. As I think Lewis Curtis was looking at a move, or actually he has made a move on Ross Denham, I can say for sure, recently at least. As now Ross Denham is going to go back through, so he's going to have to go side by side around the outside for the penultimate corner. He's going to try and hang it around the outside, Lewis Curtis, but can't quite make it work now as a superior exit through the final corner. Thomas McGyver getting a little out of sorts on the exit as well, so maybe gives it an opportunity for Lewis Curtis to go through, as of course ahead of him right now Ross Denham's going to try and go around the outside of Thomas McGyver. He's going to be able to make the move work, and now in the slipstream of the McLaren, it's going to be Lewis Curtis's turn, you would think, using ERS as well. He's going to be looking to the inside. He's going to have superior braking, you would assume, on pretty much 5-lap pressure tyres, as now going through on the inside fairly easy for Lewis Curtis, and he's going to be looking at slipstream from the Ferrari, but I don't think that's quite in reach right now, as now Lewis Millam's going to be next to get past the McLaren, as of course all these guys on fresher wets, so they'll be making up places rather than losing them, and the guys who stayed out might find themselves going backwards a little bit in this race. As now Lee Kelly has got within a second of Matthew Walder, so expect a move, I think, on Matthew for Lee soon, at least, probably in the next lap. As who's spun there? That's Thomas McGyver, and that's the exit of turn 8. He's actually facing the wrong way. He's got no wing either, so he's going to have to pit, unfortunately, as well. As I think Sander Sorg's going to be able to go through, so he's going to get promoted up into 13th. It's running very closely 5th through 7th, and Lewis Curtis is going to be looking at a move once again on the Ferrari. He had already made the move a few laps ago. He's going to be on the inside and looking to make up a place up into 6th, as now he is going to be up into 6th, and he's going to be looking for a move on his Alpha, on his Aston Martin teammate. Of course, not actually teammates, Jared Fosbury being teammates with Paco Suarez, who just about couldn't make it, unfortunately, today. But you can see superior braking for Lewis Curtis, and he's going to be closing up, and just a massive step of oversteer there on the exit. But he keeps it under control, and he's going to continue to chase down Jared Fosbury here. As the yellow flag's in Sector 3, I think that's Matthew Alder. That is Matthew Alder in the exit of turn 8. You can see in the background there Lewis Curtis making a move on Jared Fosbury side by side in the penultimate corner. Jared Fosbury is going to stick it up the inside, and he's going to retain that position as Lewis Curtis looked at a switchback but couldn't quite make it work, as now Lewis Curtis gets a better exit. He's going to be right on the back of him. He's going to be using that ERS as well. He's going to be looking to the outside, to the inside. Jared Fosbury is going to continue to be ahead right now, as of course this is a battle for 4th place on the exit now. Of course, no DRS, it's just slipstream and ERS right now that they can use, and Lewis Curtis is going to be looking to the inside again for the hairpin. The two Aston Martins are going to go side by side once again, and right down the inside for Lewis Curtis. Did he overshoot it though? No, he's going to place his car quite well in the end and make up a place now, as Lewis Millam now looking for a move on Ross Denham momentarily there, but couldn't quite make the move work, as Matthew Alder has got going again. He's down in 9th, as Matt is going to be looking around the outside of Lewis Millam. Isn't going to be able to make any use of it though, and he's going to have to remain 8th place. As now Ross Denham looking for a move on Jared Fosbury. Looks like Lewis Curtis is going to be pulling away from this train now. The two Mercedes leading quite a dominant 1-2 right now, as you'd expect, is into the pit lane for Lee Kelly. Why has he come in now? 14, I guess 15, still a little bit early, I'd think, given he was in clean air. But now Lewis Curtis also into, okay, well, a few people into the pit lane. So maybe it's time for inters. Maybe that's why. Yeah, it is time for inters. There's a few people putting on the inters now, as Corboy's going to have to stay out for another lap on the wets. Is this going to be Lee Kelly's opportunity to make an undercut attempt work? Of course, on the much better mediums, as Ollie Flavel stayed out. Of course, I think his teammate might have been ahead of him. I'm not sure. I remember Ollie Flavel being the one ahead, or maybe after the safety car that changed. But you can see now Jared Fosbury under pressure again from Ross Denham. He's going to be closing up as Jared Fosbury goes a little bit slow going through that corner. But luckily no damage for Ross. Still going quite slow for Jared, so it seems like he's not reacting too well to the conditions. And actually Lee Kelly now, we'll get the gap to leader 18 seconds now, and it's going to go under 18 seconds in a few moments, as purple sector 2, and by far the quickest tires it seems, is now into pit lane for Ollie Flavel, as Lee Kelly's going to have to set up kind of a move on Ollie there, as he got to just compromise his line a little bit, go a little bit wider. But I think Lee Kelly's actually done it here, as he's going to, of course you can see Corboy is on the exit, but you can see Lee Kelly there. It's going to be close between the two, but I think Lee Kelly does have it as he goes on, well, through the corner, and now Corboy is about 2 seconds behind, so you can see the difference that one lap made. It's now into the pit lane for a few more people, as Matthew Old is going to be going through, making up places after, of course, that spin that he had. As Dale Keller under pressure a little bit from people behind him, Lewis Millam and Lewis Curtis also looking to fight, as Lewis Curtis finds a little bit of space around the outside of the Williams, but the Williams is going to squeeze him out on the exit and retain that place, as now the Haas of Matthew Older looking to make up for lost time as well on the back of the Aston Martin. Not going to be looking at a move though at the moment, as you can see. Very late braking from Lewis Curtis, that locks up the front right as well. Going into turn 4, as Corboy has retired. What has happened here? Another safety car will go on board with Dale Keller here. I think we're going to see him on the left hand side. We do see him on the left hand side there. As we'll just try and see. Yeah, you can just about see him on the left hand side, as now he's gone. So Corboy is out of this race. Lee Kelly did just have a 16-second gap that I'm sure he'd love to have back right now. Is into the pits. Lewis Curtis. Did he get damage from something maybe? Because he's giving up a lot of positions to do the stop. Ah, okay, he's getting rid of a 5-second pen. That's fair enough. No wing change, so he's just going to continue on now. As of course Thomas MacGyver in the middle of first and second now. So Lee Kelly won't mind that too much. As a safety car, of course, is going to continue on. I think for probably only one more lap, though. As everyone is fairly close to the back of the train. Should be catching up by the end of the lap. And then we can get going again. As Thomas MacGyver trying to unlap himself. Don't know if the game's going to let him. Safety car in this lap, of course. As Thomas MacGyver is going to go through. And he's disqualified. That's kind of expected. But we are going to be racing again now. As Thomas MacGyver's disqualified car, hopefully we'll get out of the way now, everyone. As it's up to Lee Kelly when he wants to go. As he's very close to the safety car, so he might not be able to go so early. And he's gonna... okay, yeah, now he's going. And we are racing once again in Austria as Lewis Millum trying to defend from Matthew Alder, who's already up alongside him going into turn one. He's going to look with the long way round, and he's going to go for a switchback as well on the Williams versus Haas, fairly even, as of course the Haas is going to have a disadvantage still with that Ferrari engine, but he's going to be looking down the inside. He's going to dive it down the inside, Matthew Alder, and try to make himself a place up into the podium places, of course. Still side by side between the two. You can see that Mercedes engine working well for the Williams and just pulling ahead of Matthew Alder. But again, Matthew Alder, I think, is going to dive it down the inside, and now to corners where skill is going to matter a little bit more. I think surely Matthew Alder is going to be able to squeeze him out, and he does just that up into third place. Also get a nice shot of everyone going through. Seems like the Ferrari of Ross Denham's getting a little close to Lewis Millum. As you can see, quite close is Matt as well. Only a tenth behind the Ferrari, so he might be looking at a move at the exit of turn one, as he's going to be in the slipstream, as actually loses the back end a little bit, and he's going to be probably losing positions instead, as now the Alfa Romeo of Cameron Young also looking at a move on Jared Fosbury as both of them go past the Red Bull, and on the inside Cameron Young in the Alfa Romeo, of course, outbreaks himself a little bit, allows Jared Fosbury to get a switchback move done on him, and they're going to be side by side once again, but Cameron Young just pulling ahead, and I think he's going to be able to have this. Is now fight for the lead. Lee Kelly's trying to defend from Dale Keller. He does just that and retains his first place, but only just though, as now Cameron Young, you can see in the background, also making the place up on Jared Fosbury and up into 6th place. But he does have a penalty though, unfortunately, Cameron Young, so he does have to think about that for later on in the race. So seems like Lee Kelly may be a bit under pressure from the guys behind. Wasn't able to gap them maybe as he would have liked, as now Lee Kelly also gets a 3-second time penalty for good measure. So he'll really have to gap them now if he wants this win. As into the pit lane again for Lewis Curtis. Is it a wing change this time? It is a wing change this time. Oh, and now, sorry, Matthew Walder, looking at a move on Dale Keller once again. He's looking down the inside of the hairpin, wasn't able to make it work. He's looking down the inside of turn 4 now, still side by side between the two, and I think he's going to squeeze him out again. Or actually, you know, this time the AlphaTauri is going to be able to go on the outside. He's going to be able to keep it on the outside. Matthew Walder, I think, had to correct his car a little bit as well, but now we're on the outside for Matthew Walder. Beautiful move if he can pull it off, as he's going to still be side by side for turn 7. Is he going to finish it in turn 8? Still, these two remain side by side as they go through the S section, and the AlphaTauri is going to pull ahead. That Honda engine superior to the Ferrari, of course, as well. That's certainly helping out, as Matthew Walder is going to have to stick behind the AlphaTauri, but for how much longer though, is he still trying to make this move work? He's 2.6 seconds ahead up the road, Lee Kelly, so he's getting on with it now. As the AlphaTauri defends to the inside a little bit, it's going to allow Matthew Walder to have a better run now, going onto the straight, going down towards the hairpin. He's going to use Slipstream, he's going to be using ERS as well. He's probably going to look down the inside again, as he is going to look down the inside, almost clipping the grass there, as well as down the inside the Haas. Outbreaks himself though. I think the AlphaTauri is going to be able to switch back, and he is going to be able to switch back. Had to save his car this time though, and Matthew Walder is going to make the move up to 2nd place. As now Matt has pit for softs. There's always someone. As you can see, these 3 cars following quite closely the Ferrari, looking at a move maybe on Lewis Millam. As I guess an overtake is an overtake, but it's going to be a very easy overtake here. So I'll just switch back in case something happens, but there's a bit of action here to look at. As is he actually on the mediums and is showing softs? Okay, nope. Yeah, he's definitely on the softs, and he's gonna go around. Of course he is. What did he expect? DRS enables though. Maybe Matt wasn't so wrong after all. Maybe he has a point to his madness. As of course the track is very much still wet. It's very clearly still wet and not at all time for softs right now. But at least it's justified, given it just went to or actually now people are pitting as well. Lee Kelly has stayed out, interestingly. I would probably be staying out as well, personally. Sandro Sorg is going to stay out. It's what I would be thinking of doing, because it is still wet. There's still like water on the track, and the water is still getting flicked up. but pretty much everyone into the pit lane now. The Williams have had to double stack. Ollie Flavel's going to lose out quite a bit of time because this game just is not good. I mean, when has it ever been good though, really? It's now Ollie Flavel finally getting served. Nina Ramanel onto the mediums though, interestingly. Lewis Curtis also going in for softs, I would assume at least. Dale Keller also went for the softs. As Matthew Walder now, I'll just do a gap to leader. If he can get this outlap good enough, he might end up leading when we go on to lap 25. But that remains to be seen. Of course, 28.8 staying pretty much the same. Or actually, if anything, Lee's gaining time, and he is staying out. So maybe this is a better strategy for people like Sondre and for Lee, as Sondre does lose the back end though, as he goes out of turn 9. But Lee Kelly is still gaining time from staying out on these inters. And but when he does pit as well, he'll have 1 or 2 lap pressure tyres. In this case now we'll have 2 lap pressure tyres. A purple sector for Matthew Walder, so kind of tells you a bit more certainly, as now Jared Fosbury has spun. And he's down to 10th. Luckily for him, stays in the points though. As now Lewis Millam is looking at a move on on Dale Keller, I should say. As he goes on the outside and makes that move stick. As of course DRS is an activation for these guys as well, as he's going to look around the outside Dale Keller, as we get a nice shot on the left hand side of his car, and he's going to be squeezed out by the Williams, and Lewis Millam is going to be up into 4th place. Now it's going to be a pit stop for Lee Kelly, and I think it's going to be a pit stop for Sondre Sorog as well, as both of them of course now into the pit lane. And Matthew Walder, I don't think is going to inherit the lead from this, but he's certainly going to be able to catch back up a little bit more on Lee Kelly. He'll find himself a lot closer than he would have been. And of course remember Lee's penalty as well, Lee's 3-second penalty, as he sets the fastest lap of the race. You can see Lee Kelly on the right hand side just in the distance there, exiting the pit lane, and he is going to retain his P1 on fresh tyres now of course, and he's going to be able to start pulling away once again fairly easily. As you can see, a train of 4 cars as Matt has spun again it seems. As now on the inside, Dale Keller is actually defending from, or is he? I can't actually tell. He's going for a move now on Lewis Millam anyway now, as he's going to try and retake his podium position. As he's going to look around the outside, he's going to try and hang it around the outside, use the grip, and he's going to have the inside for turn 6, but around the outside though for Lewis Millam, he's going to try and hang around the outside, but it's not going to work. And now Dale Keller will find himself in the podium places once again. Ross Denham seems to be struggling a little bit, because you can see as actually round now for Cameron Young. He's right round into the gravel as well. Luckily for him, he's not gone into any barrier, and he's going to be able to continue, should be able to continue within the top 10 as well. Only just about though, as Ollie Flavel's going to go through. So 8th place now for Cameron Young after a spin going out of turn 7, going through turn 8 up on the curb of course. As it seems like Matthew Walder now has gapped the guys behind him by a little bit, 1.4 seconds out of DRS range, as we are on lap 27 out of 36. Lewis Curtis getting a 3-second time penalty, but won't really matter too much given he's not even in the points right now. He'll be looking to make up places from other people's mistakes, and really a DNF would probably be favoured by him right now. Of course not himself, but if someone else were to DNF. So now Lee Kelly sets another fastest lap, an 8.9 now. And Dale Kelleher closing up a little bit to the back of the Haas now. not quite in DRS range, as Lewis Millam is in DRS range. Looks like he got a bit better of an exit as well. As you can see, there is still water on the track, but it is very much dry now, of course. Still potential maybe for some mistakes. Maybe some parts of the track might be slightly slippery still. As Lewis Millam trying to close up, and Dale Keller now just about getting in where he needs to be for some DRS, and there's been a yellow flag, and it's going to be because of a retirement of Matt. And you can see him going around the track. That is a retirement on track. Quite clear. And also forbidden by the rules. As we are away once again, the virtual safety car gets rid of itself. As Oli Flavo gets a 3-second time penalty just as it continues. As now we can see Matthew Walder getting passed for second place by Dale Keller, and Dale Keller goes through quite easily now. Not the first time these two have fighted in FP. Of course, in round 1 they had a bit of a fight for the lead, in which Matthew Walder came out on top. But this time, of course, it's looking like Dale Keller is going to win this one between the two of them. Lee Kelly, of course, with his newer tyres, his fresher tyres, his Mercedes as well, looking like he's going to be able to run away with this one. As Lewis Millam trying to close up now to Matthew Walder. As now Cameron Young, it seems like just making a move on Oli Flavo for 7th place now. Lap 30 out of 36. Still a little bit of water on the track, it seems. As now Matthew Walder, I think, is going to have to look behind him rather than ahead of him. As now 6.8 from Lee Kelly as the track continues to improve, as that's Cameron Young again going around, and now he's down to 10th. So only one singular point he's looking at now with only 5 laps to go. As Matthew Walder remains ahead of Lewis Millam for now. Of course, it is a Mercedes engine versus a Ferrari engine as well. As now Cameron Young is retired, but he's retired in the pit lane. If he went a few more laps, he would have got 1 point. You would only have had to go till lap 33, I think. Maybe 34. So now who's that on the right hand side? That's an Aston Martin of Lewis Curtis, it seems. Yeah, and he's still going actually. Still in the session. So fair play to that. He'll be picking up a point now. As I said earlier, he would need 1 DNF to pick up a point, and now he's going to be picking up a point. And actually, with Lewis being behind Cameron, Cameron would have had to finish the entire race. And I guess he just didn't want to do that. Oh, is that spin that I saw? That's Lewis Curtis going around. And that's also a reset to track. But even if he got a 5-second pen, because he finishes in the top 10, so it would be added to his final time, wouldn't actually affect him in the end, because of course there's no one behind him. There's now a 6.6 for Lee Kelly. As a 3-second penalty for Lewis Millam and a 3-second penalty for Dale Kelleher, meaning that Matthew Walder, if he just continues as he has been, is going to take a P2 fairly easily in the end, actually. So just take a look at the penalties now. Ross Denham had 6, so even if he got past someone, it wouldn't matter because they only got their penalties now. And I don't think they're going to get another penalty between now and the end of the race, being only 3 laps left. 3.5, kind of. Jared Fosbury now picking up another 3-second pen. As Lee Kelly continues to improve. Or actually, no, it's not another, it is his first one. And Sandra Sorog, I can say for almost certain, gets another one. Yeah, 12 seconds. As he almost disqualified himself in F1. Doesn't look like he's going to disqualify himself today. And Matthew Walder now looking a little bit closer to the back of that AlphaTauri. And the AlphaTauri, of course, wasn't able to gap him quite as he would have liked, I don't think. As of course he did kind of lose a bit of ERS. As he's running on very low ERS right now. As you can see, looking at the timing screens, quite difficult for Matthew Walder to make up time in the straights. Of course, he does gain a little bit, but he could be gaining so much more if he had a better engine. Which just shows the struggles of the Haas car. As Lewis Millam gets ever closer to the back of Matthew Walder, Jared Fosbury gets a second 3-second penalty now. And Lee Kelly leading out front now over 9 seconds of a gap. So he could get 2 more penalties and it wouldn't matter. And he has only a lap to go for himself now. As of course these guys are about to have a lap left as well. And it doesn't look like Lewis Millam is going to be getting anything better than 4th. Because if he got past Matthew Walder, he'd still have to get past Dale Keller, who himself actually is a little bit under threat from Matthew Walder, who's closing as they approach the hairpin through turn 2. He's going to look to the right hand side of the track. He's going to look down the inside as well. Softs versus mediums right now, but it is also a Haas versus an AlphaTauri, and you can see on the exit there the difference in engine that they have, as now Matthew Walder again in the situation, but didn't quite pick up the DRS, as now Lewis Millam's going to go through for the podium places, or at least on track podium places, but he's going to get squeezed out by Matthew Walder and can't quite make up any more time on Dale Keller, so Dale is going to hang on to a P3 at the moment, and Matthew Walder is going to get promoted to P2, so now it's Lee Kelly, of course, going through the final corner, as it seems like Dale Keller has had a spin, but Lee Kelly is going to weave across the line. He is going to take the win in Austria. What has happened to Dale Keller? He's spun at the exit of turn 7, going through turn 8. So he's down to 5th place now. So Lewis Millam is actually going to get past Matthew Alder, it seems, but then Matthew Alder is going to get back past as well due to penalties. Ross Denham's going to take a P4 in the end in that case. And now you can see Dale Keller, after his spin, is going to be finishing up in P5. Sondre Sorog is 6th, and I think he's going to remain 6th. He's got a good enough gap to Ollie, I think. As there you go. Sondre is going to keep a P6. Nino Manello, who is not here, is going to take 8th. Jared Fosbury, of course, 9th. And you can see Lewis Curtis a lap down, finishing up in P10 for the final point. And Jared Fosbury spinning around, almost DNF'd himself. Wouldn't have actually mattered if he did, but... And driver of the day, Ross Denham. I would personally say Matthew Alder, given he was in a Haas and got P2. No penalties either. But there you have it, of course. Lee Kelly lifting the trophy. Takes the victory in Austria. Probably his first and last of the season, given he's going to get full 25 points today. Matthew Alder in 2nd. And 3rd, Lewis Millam in the Williams. And for a rundown then, of course, as I said, Lee Kelly taking the win, Matthew Alder 2nd, Lewis Millam in 3rd, Ross Denham in 4th, Dale Keller after a spin in 5th, Sondre Sorog in 6th, Ollie Flavel finishes 7th, Nino's AI car finishes 8th, which means Jared Fosbury will be 8th, Lewis Curtis in 9th, and then Cameron Young, well yeah, he's not plus 3 laps, so I don't think that he's going to get anything. And then that will be Matt in 12th with a DNF also. Of course, Cameron Young also DNFing Corboy and Timer and Dylan Day, Thomas McIver and Timber Stadiums at the back of the grid, all DNFing today. So that's 7 DNFs we've had today. Lee Kelly, of course, taking full points today, getting the 2 points for pole and the extra fastest lap point, which was, I was going to say almost a second quicker than anyone else, but Lewis Curtis got a 5.9 in the end. So we'll just look at getting the top 3 in for interviews then. Can't quite remember actually what. Okay, yeah, it was the 2 underscores. So there's Lee Kelly getting in. Hello, Lee. Just gonna wait and see if Matthew and Lewis join then.
Mm-hmm.
There's Lewis. And there's Matthew. So we can get started then. We'll start with you then, Lee, of course, as you won the race. Although I don't really think there's all that much to talk about. Of course, you got the pole position. You led from the start. Only thing I would really ask about, of course, early on, I can't remember if you made a pit stop or maybe you spun or something, but early on you found yourself at the back of the grid. And then, of course, you had to fight your way back through, but then another safety car, you pulled away again, and you won with the fastest lap as well, taking the absolute full points you could have possibly taken. So, really, how was the race for you, Lee?
Honestly, to answer your question, I think I spun, but I have no memory of it whatsoever. Apart from that, I know, obviously, it seemed all rosy out front, but with that rain at the start, it was not fun. But, like, in the middle part and the end, it definitely was just, like, just trying to get the car home in one piece, really.
Yeah, and of course, in the end then, it was the win, of course. Coral Boy, of course, kind of put you under maybe a little bit of pressure because he seemed like the only one who could have potentially beat you in the other Mercedes, of course. But in the end, with his DNF, I think that kind of solidified the fact that you were going to win this race as long as you didn't DNF yourself or spin. So, I guess we can just move on to the final question then. So, Spain is next week. How do you think you could do around there?
Well, obviously, we'll see if I'm even there, first of all, because I'm in reserve. I'm not carrying, but Spain, I hate the track, so we'll see. I doubt I'll do well, though.
Okay, well, congratulations on your win anyway, and good luck for next week.
Thank you.
And then that would go to second place, Matthew Alder, of course. Matthew, not the easiest race you can say with that Ferrari engine and the Haas really not helping you out to make moves. As of course, I noticed quite a few times on the exits of corners, the person with the better engine would just pull away in the acceleration. So, in the end, to get a second, especially with no penalties as well, I think it's a very solid race from you. So, how was your race from your end? Of course, you had a few fights as well in the end.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Some clean racing with Grumpy, Laggy. Can't remember anyone else I raced. But I never really had a clean a day battle. It was all quite clean racing, so yeah, it was good entertainment, good fun. Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw, but I spun at the end of the race, so it wasn't exactly the easiest race, but the safety car certainly helped, and the fact that I jumped Jared and someone else in the pits by pitting earlier, and then going into softs, the crossover point seemed to hurt my pace, or at least everyone else's pace got better, because I was pulling away from Mr. Grumpy and Lewis, Laggy Tim, in the rain, I mean, and then the dry Dale was catching me much faster. He was clearly faster. I had to use ERS to keep up, even if he hadn't done. So yeah, it was not easy P2, but just kept it clean with my penalties.
Yeah, and of course in the end, a P2 fairly strong, given of course you're in the Haas, and as well you would extend your championship lead over whoever is in second. I'm not really sure. I haven't checked the standings recently. But next week is in Spain. You'll be in the Haas unless the car is worse than the Haas next week again. So how do you think you could do around Spain?
Well, Spain is an okay track for me. I did it a lot at the start of the game. I don't like it though. It's a pretty bad track. But it does, I mean, it should hopefully be hard to overtake me anyway, when I'm holding up a train inevitably. So, should be a bit easier than Austria was for that.
Well, congratulations on your P2 and good luck for next week.
Thank you.
And then third place, Lewis Millam then. So, Lewis, of course, you were also involved in very similar fights to what Matthew had. And in the end, I think you actually made an overtake on Matthew. I don't think I caught it though, right at the end, because I was looking at Dale's, well, that would be Grumpy's spin right at the end as well. So a few things happening on the last lap alone, but certainly wasn't. It was a difficult race, I guess you could say. A lot of fighting for you throughout the race. So how was it for you, Lewis? Hmm. Yeah, in the end, I guess it wasn't by penalties, but still, a podium is a podium, and yeah, taking it on track as well, taking a P2 on track even, must have made it feel a little bit better. So next week, of course, as I said, Catalonia in Spain. So how do you think you could do around there? Yeah, probably you will be. Yeah, and of course, it was a very strong P3 in the end, and good luck for next week. And that is going to round out the stream then. So that has been IRL FP, of course, in Austria round 5. And of course, as I said, next week is going to be Spain. Spain, of course, starts a little bit earlier for the other tiers, though. This weekend on Saturday, F1 starts, so be sure to check that out at 4:30 on Saturday. And of course, this is going to be same time on Wednesday night next week at 8 PM. So be sure to join us then. And apart from that, that has been all from me, and see you next week. Goodbye.